Clerk, roll call, please.
The board is now open for roll call. You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item, Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Invocation.
Okay, we will have our introduction of our invocator by Vice Chair Pro Tem Baidoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce Father Bob McCabe from the Church of the Divine Child in Dearborn. Raised in Allen Park, Father McCabe moved to Dearborn in his early 20s, where he developed a strong connection to the community before entering the seminary in 1989. Father McCabe was longtime parishioner at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Dearborn for nearly 13 years. He was ordained in 1995. Over the years, he has remained actively involved in supporting Divine Child's parish and school events. As Father McCabe approaches his 30th anniversary as a priest, he continues to express his gratitude and humility for the opportunity to serve God and the Dearborn community. Father McCabe is deeply committed to the growth and success of his parish. Little fun fact about Father McCabe, he has had a passion for photography since high school, and it has stayed with him ever since. He is well known for capturing pictures of his churchgoers and the dignity of those in need. His photographic work focuses on the poor and needy and has been showcased in his series, Winter on the Street, and in the Detroit Free Press. Please join me in welcoming Father Bob McCabe as he leads our invocation.
Good morning, everyone. Let us pray. Loving God, please be with us as we gather for this meeting of the Wayne County Commission. Today we pray not only for ourselves, but for all who are in need of prayer, all who are in need of your divine assistance. We pray for all war-torn areas throughout the world. We pray for peace and healing. For those who are struggling emotionally or physically, may they receive the help they need. May our support assure them they are not alone. Lord, we know that poverty wears many faces. May we each respond to opportunities to help someone who has fallen and needs help to get back up. In doing so, we are honoring you, Lord, who is the author of all life. Loving God, please continue to bless all members of the Wayne County Commission. Give them loving and humble hearts, eager to serve the good people of Wayne County. We pray for all of the support staff whose assistance helped make this meeting possible. Loving God, may we each live this day in a manner that is pleasing to you and a blessing to others. Amen.
Thank you, Father McCabe. Thank you for that prayer for peace. We need it at this time. Oh, and Vice Chair Palomera.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before Father McCabe leaves, I would just like to point out he is the pride and joy of his family, who includes my friend and his brother, Detroit Free Press sports writer Mick McCabe. So we read a lot about his brother, but Father McCabe is clearly the brains and better looking man in the family. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you again, Father McCabe, for joining us today. Thank you so much. Next item,
Reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Move for approval.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. Are there any corrections to the journal? Hearing none, please vote.
Commissioner Kinlaw. Commissioner Kinlaw. Motion carries.
Hey, thank you so much. Next item.
Report from the chair.
A couple of things, as you all know, on Tuesday, the criminal justice complex was, I don't know what I want to say, it was opening day of that complex. And I was there, as we saw when we toured a couple of weeks ago. It's a beautiful building, state-of-the-art building. Again, want to thank everyone who was involved in bringing that to fruition, the county executive, Mr. Kaufman, when he was deputy county CEO, Corp Counsel James Heath, the Wayne County Commission, everyone that brought that building up online, the prosecutor, the clerk, the courts, the chief judge, the sheriff, everyone is thrilled to be in their new home. So we are hopeful that it will stay for at least 50 years. And we're at least 50 years, but it's a great place for our employees, and hopefully it'll give the employees who are in the older buildings a boost of morale being in a new state-of-the-art building. So again, I want to thank everyone who brought that to fruition, and I look forward to the public as they enter those doors, understanding what we've gone through to get them to this space and appreciate it as much as we do. So I just wanted to give those words. That's all that I have. Next item.
Unfinished business, there is none listed. We are moving to offering of all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. There are 2 resolutions listed. The first resolution by Commissioner Bell opposing the transportation and/or disposal of hazardous waste in Wayne County and reaffirming the Wayne County Commission's commitment to protect the environment conditions within its communities and to protect the health of its residents.
Okay, so as you know, once we found out about the waste coming down from New York here to Wayne County, we had a meeting, committee of the whole meeting, to discuss it and see what we can do. There were some things that were offered, but the least we can do is present this resolution. I do understand that the resolution that we have before us, there are a few friendly amendments to it by Commissioner Garza. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Garza for his friendly amendments to this resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the things that came out of our meeting was that there's legislation in Lansing that supports the increase in tipping fees. One, House Bill 5332 by Representative Reggie Miller, and the second in the Senate Bill 938 by Senator Camilleri. So the friendly amendment would be to the second from last paragraph of the resolution, which would include the language, it's resolved that the Wayne County Commission vehemently supports a significant increase in tipping fees for waste disposal and calls upon the Michigan legislature and Governor Whitmer to adopt legislation. This is the language we're including House Bill 5332, introduced by Representative Reggie Miller, Senate Bill 938, introduced by Senator Camilleri. The Wayne County Commission further requests that Senate Bill 938 and House Bill 5332 be amended before adoption to remove any exemption from the tipping fees for waste that is removed from a site that is remediated at the expense of the state or federal government. That would be the language, and the last sentence there would make sure that any type of waste that is removed, such as the instance with the Manhattan Project, would not be exempt from that, which it currently is in the bills. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Very good. Thank you so much. Discussion, Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, the sponsor of the amendment, I just wondered if it includes any language as far as the dollar amount, or that it be placed to be competitive or less competitive with what the out-of-state dumps may be.
I think our council has an answer to that.
Through the chair, so the House bill would increase the tipping fees from, I want to say $10 a ton to $25 a ton for waste. And then there's the Senate bill that specifically deals with Class 1 hazardous waste that will have add a $100 fee. tipping per ton. So it's my understanding, based on my basic Google research last night, that those fees are competitive and in fact, maybe above, beyond the average that most states charge.
I think it's very good to hear the $100 additional, because I think we should not be so inexpensive that we attract
Absolutely.
these types of dumping. And, but anyway, I know it's interstate commerce, and we have limits on how much we can do, but I think making it less attractive to bringing in that type of stuff. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as you recall, that was one of the discussion items. Why are we so attractive for people who want to drive miles and miles? Because it is economically better for them to drive than to have it in their own backyard. So we're glad that those bills are on the table at the state legislature and hopefully they'll pass. Commissioner Colleen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Couple of things about the resolution today. We had a similar committee of the whole a little over a year ago after the East Palestine. And in that committee, the whole, we had discussed with county staff what the county could do in terms of this. And there was recommendations on that. And we also talked about, you know, what the state legislature could do. And we passed a resolution very similar to the one that we're passing today. Flash forward a little over a year and we're in the same position. And what I would like to see is that we have a committee of the commission look at those items that were brought to our attention that we could do as a county in terms of an ordinance. And I want to go through that and develop an ordinance to take what actions the county can. I don't know how these two bills, I just found about them today, that Commissioner Garza mentioned in his an amendment. Unaware, first time I've heard of these bills. They weren't part of the committee of the whole discussion. And I think the county does have a lobby firm in Lansing that could draft legislation the way the county would like to see it and have it introduced that way. So I want to take a little bit more of an aggressive approach to me. And I'm going to vote against the resolution today because I don't think it moves forward. I think we need to take more action here. We've been told twice what the county can do. We've also discussed twice what the state could do. So I'm not interested in more resolutions at this point. I'm interested in drafted legislation to vote on and really move this forward. I don't want to be here in another year and a half and having another committee of the whole and drafting another resolution. I'd like to do it now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And as many of you know, there was a town hall meeting last night with, again, our Congress people, EGLE, EPA, a lot of the agencies. And the gist of that town hall meeting is it's a state issue, not so much a county issue. But that being said, I don't have a problem putting together a team of commissioners to work with the county to see what we can do. However, unfortunately, it is very little. But working with our legislature is going to be the way to do it. This resolution would continue to urge because the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So as we continue to pass resolutions, let them know what our position is. Hopefully that will guide our legislatures to make some more sweeping changes that will benefit the persons of Wayne County, all the people of Wayne County. Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As Commissioner Colleen just talked about, we had all of these meetings last year, and then it didn't really go anywhere. So I support creating some ordinance that have teeth in it that actually move us in a, I guess, firm, committed position that we can change this, because this is we're going in circles. And the other thing I wanted to mention that I didn't see in this resolution was a commitment for our environmental department to ensure that we are involved in any permits that are authorized for any locations in Wayne County. That's one of the problems that we're having, is that there's no one there to speak to from Wayne County, whether we should move forward with permitting another year or 5 years term for the particular business. So I wanted to make sure that we have someone on top of that at all times. And then the last thing I'll say is the lobbying firm that we have. We talked about this last year, whether they were committed to working towards a resolution that will help us in resolving this issue. And I'm not sure if they're working, sometimes they're working on both sides. I don't know their position. And I think we need to find out if they really are focused on helping us, or maybe they're working both sides. I don't know. So that is what I would say about this. But I appreciate the resolutions, because, but will it have any meaningful impact is the question. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kinlock.
Madam Chair, I would like to say that I absolutely support this resolution. This resolution is speaking to some actions that are pending before the Michigan legislature. Our voice need to be heard, not only because we're the largest county in the state, but also because we happen to be the county in which we've had 2 incidents where this type of hazardous waste have come into our borders. I think that to set up a task force, a special committee, or whatever you want to call it, I think that's much to do about nothing. We have been told by the Corp Council, we've told by our council, we've been told by everyone who understand the authority surrounding this type of use, that we have very little authority. This is an oversight. This is a responsibility of the state and federal government. That meeting that was held last night basically doubled down on that fact. We need to have our voice heard, and the way a public body voice is heard is through the passing of a resolution, and I support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend this meeting last night, but I heard there were over 300 people and passions were very high. I will definitely support this resolution. As I indicated at the committee as a whole meeting, Wayne County should not be a dumping ground for all this hazardous waste. If the answer lies within Lansing with the Michigan legislatures, we're going to work very hard to lobby every member in Lansing to come up with a new legislature, a new law that would ban these toxic material from being brought to Wayne County. It's just very frustrating when you talk to people. They just don't want this in their backyard. And we got to continue to speak out, like my colleagues mentioned, until there's a solution. You cannot put a price tag on the lives of Wayne County residents just because it's cheaper, cost effective for them to haul all this material to Wayne County. Just dumping in Canada. They have a lot of land in Canada. Why bring it to Michigan? Why to Wayne County? And so I will fully support this resolution, and I will continue to speak out on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Haydus.
Thank you, Madam the Chair. I really support this resolution And keep in mind, it's the beginning. It's not the only resolution we need. We need to continue to fight against bringing the hazardous waste to Wayne County. The issue is, as Commissioner Baidoon mentioned, they put in more value for the dollar than human life. Yesterday's meeting was living proof how much the people against bringing the hazardous waste to Wayne County. And we have to pay attention to that, because if we don't fight for the health of the human being in this county, then we totally failure representative to the people. So at the beginning, I will support this resolution, and we need to continue to pay attention to that issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chair Palomero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also support the resolution, that calls for a ban on nuclear waste dumping in Wayne County. And I'd also like to ask our Commission Counsel, Felicia Johnson. Counselor, is there anything else that the Commission or Wayne County can legally do, either by statutory law or case law, anything more we can do than a resolution of this sort that we're not doing?
Through the chair to this honorable body, so over the last few weeks and looking at this matter and talking to our resident expert, Patrick Cullen, and after the COW, Chairwoman Bell indicated to me that she wanted to do an ordinance or some type of action on behalf of this body to try to address this matter. So in talking to Pat, I'm gonna read you exactly what he told me. He indicated that regarding adopting an ordinance, I want to point out that under the state's hazardous waste regulations, the county has little to no authority to regulate these waste streams. Specifically, MCL 324-11121 states that a local ordinance, permit requirement, or other requirement cannot prohibit the construction of a hazardous waste treatment, storage, or disposal facility. State law does require that any facility applying for a permit must show that they have considered the concerns of the local community, but does not allow counties or local municipalities the authority to enforce those concerns. In addition to that, we know that there is a Supreme Court case that indicates that it is commerce that allows the transportation of the hazardous waste between states. So the county cannot regulate or prohibit the import of hazardous waste from other states. In addition, I did attend the town hall meeting last night, and it was very clear from those discussions, based on the conversations and comments of the Army Corps and the EPA, that this is a state issue. That is the state legislature that can change the tipping fees, that can discourage transportation of waste coming here, because it was indicated by the Army Corps that that was one of the reasons that they're coming to Michigan into this facility. It was also indicated that enforcement by perhaps the department at the state level, EGLE, is also important that they enforce and do penalties. So it was very clear from last night's discussion with all of the individuals there that this is a state issue. So to answer your question, I don't think there is much the county can do with regards to this. I believe that this resolution is appropriate and probably does as much as you can. However, I think we can continue to have those internal discussions with the department, including, as they mentioned in COW, that the county's department will make an effort to follow up to see when the licenses are coming up, so we can make sure that we have a voice, but we actually don't have a role in those processes.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Counselor. And you know, we have a champion with our Congress members, Dingell and Rashida Tlaib, who have been very vocal in this as well. So working together, I think with something that we can move forward, and hopefully, again, as I stated, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. The more noise we put up on this, the more that we let them know, let our state legislatures know that this is something that we're not going to continue to tolerate. We're hopeful that they would change the state law so that this can be a thing of the past. We won't have to come here every year, every time there's a new shipment of some type of hazardous waste to Wayne County. So again, this is the resolution that I'm presenting today. I will accept your friendly amendment, Commissioner Garza. It's been moved by Commissioner Haydu, supported by Commissioner Baidoon. Another discussion, Commissioner Clemente?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make note that I am supportive of this. Serving in the legislature, resolutions are read in when the bills come to committee, and all of us need to take action knowing when these bills are going to be up. There is a newspaper that published this. We can go to the Senate or the House website. So that is the way that we need to support our partners at the state and the federal level, knowing what's going on in Lansing and in Washington. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, please vote. And my tablet went out. I vote yes. Commissioner Scott? Okay.
Motion carries.
Okay, very good. And I will open the board when we have a moment for co-sponsors for the resolution. Let us know when the board is open.
The board is now open for co-sponsors. Co-sponsors duly noted.
Thank you so much. Thank you, commissioners. This is not over. We're going to continue to fight and do all that we can, working again with our partners at the state and federal level, because this is no way the end of this conversation. We have to protect the people that we represent in Wayne County, and for that matter, the state of Michigan, because if any of this gets into our water supply, it'll be a concern and a danger for all of our residents in the state of Michigan. Thank you so much. Next item.
Item number 2 is a resolution by Commissioner Bell recognizing the importance of National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month and National Suicide Prevention Awareness Week, which is September 9th through the 16th, and the opportunity to shine a special encouraging light on this topic that affects us all and send a clear and hopeful message that help is available and suicide can be prevented.
Thank you. As you know, unfortunately, suicide is at an uptick with our young people in particular. So we just need to make sure that we provide as much services to all of our residents, but especially our young people when it comes to suicide, and let them know that there is help out there and there is a better way. And if anyone needs any assistance, there is the national hotline number that is now available, the 3-digit number for those who are in need of just talking to someone if they're feeling suicidal. So please encourage your residents to take advantage of that number and to just be aware that unfortunately suicide is real, but it is preventable if they have someone to talk to, hopefully, and that we recognize the symptoms of depression and if people are going through something that's unlike their normal character. I will move this for approval. Can I move it? Okay, moved by Commissioner Baker McCormick, supported by Vice Chair Palomero. Any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
One moment, please. Okay, thank you. Next item. What happened? Oh, sure. If you'd like to be a co-sponsor on the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, clerk let us know when the board is not open, when the board is open for co-sponsors.
The board is now open for co-sponsors. Co-sponsors duly noted.
All right, next item, please.
We're moving to reports from committees. Report A is from the Committee on Ways and Means. There are 5 items listed.
Commissioner Kinlock.
Move approval of the report.
Been moved by Commissioner Kinlock, supported by Commissioner Anderson. Any discussion on the 5 items on the Ways and Means report? Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We are on Report B from the Committee on Audit. There is 1 item listed.
Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the report for receive and file.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Dobbs, supported by Commissioner Hayes to receive and file the 1 item on the audit report. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, next item, please.
We are on Report C from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security. There are 7 items listed on pages 3 and 4 of the agenda.
Okay, Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to I'd like to move items, receive and file items 1 and 2 and 3, and move approval on the rest of the items for 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. All right, so motion to receive and file items 1, 2, 3, and approve items 4, 5, 6, and 7. Any discussion on the items on the public safety report? Any discussion? All right, hearing none, please vote.
Commissioner Clemente. Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are on Report D from the Committee on Government Operations. There are 5 items listed on pages 4 through 6 of the agenda.
Commissioner Clemente.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move the full report for government ops.
Been moved by Commissioner Clemente, supported by Commissioner Dobb. Any discussion on the items under the government operations report? Hearing none, please vote.
And carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We're on Report E from the Committee on Economic Development. There are 6 items listed on pages 6 and 7 of the agenda.
We are on economic development. Commissioner Hayes.
Thank you. I move to receive and file item 1 to 4 and approve item 5 and 6.
Moved by Commissioner Hayes, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydoun. Any discussion on the economic development report? Any discussion on the economic development report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
We're on Report F from the Committee on Public Services. There are 12 items listed on pages 7 through 10 of the agenda.
Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move items 1 through 12 for approval, and for the makers of the motion, Commissioner Kniezek on number 2, Commissioner Garza on number 8, and Commissioner Clemente on number 11.
You say number 8 for Commissioner Garza?
Yes.
All right, in discussion, Commissioner Garza.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to be listed as an abstention on item number 3.
Okay, duly noted. Any additional discussion on the public services report? Okay, moved by Commissioner Marecki, supported by Commissioner Garza. Please vote.
Motion carries. I have Commissioner Garza as an abstention on item number 3 and the maker of the motion on item number 8. Commissioner Kenizik, maker of the motion, item number 2. Commissioner Clemente, maker of the motion, item number 11.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We are on report G from the Committee on Health and Human Services. There are 3 items listed on pages 10 and 11 of the agenda.
Okay, Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of items 1, 2, and 3.
Moved by Commissioner Scott, supported by Commissioner Baker McCormick. Discussion on item number 3. Is there anyone who can come speak to this item with the juvenile detention facility?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Melissa Fernandez, Director of Juvenile and Youth Services. So item number 3 is our request for a contract with ATC Healthcare to provide staffing for our juvenile detention facility in the event that we need staffing. ATC was the result of a formal solicitation. ATC was the most responsive bidder to this. The contract is not to exceed $9 million. Of course, we are hoping that we do not need their services. We have worked very closely with our human resources department with our rolling onboarding and hiring at the juvenile detention facility. And today we are fully staffed in beating the state ratio requirement.
And the previous contractor for this, did they bid for this?
They did bid.
And they were unable to meet the requirements to continue with their contract?
Correct. I believe out of 4 vendors, they came in last with the bid.
And again, we hope not to go to $9 million, but this is a just in case scenario.
That is correct.
Commissioner Kinlock?
Okay, so when the initial contract came, New Image came, we were in a crisis. We were told there were augmented staff. We also were told similar that they were supposed to be there temporarily. The JDF piece is something that we've been watching and paying close attention to as a commission. I just have some questions in regards to the previous contractor. They obviously have had experience with working within the county. Also, I would imagine that at some point they've have built out an infrastructure that would be able to, I guess, funnel the necessary staffing when it's needed. My question is, why are we making the change? I understand lowest bidder, but also understand that that's not always necessarily the case. So I need to understand the unique circumstances which warrant us making a change when we know that this is an aspect of the operation over there that is under intense scrutiny. So I want to know, why is there a need to change? Also, if we have this augmented staffing company in place, is there issues with overtime? Do we still have issues associated with overtime? And especially now that you're now telling us that we're fully in compliance as far as the staffing levels.
Correct. So to be clear, they weren't the lowest bidder as far as cost. They were the most responsive bidder with.
Okay, responsive. Explain,
Sure.
elaborate.
So to the questions regarding the bid, they were the most responsive. I was not on the team, so there was a team selected from the county to select the bidder.
It sounds a little bit broad and discretionary when you say responsive, because just have some questions. And, you know, we have to put this under a level of scrutiny because staffing has been a problem. And I'm just saying now we're switching. Somebody else has to build new infrastructure and build out that. So I just have those questions. Yep, thanks.
And the original contract of the MPS that was for an emergency, and we have faith in the government procurement process to put out an RFP to seek to continue the services, and that's exactly what we did. We put out the RFP.
We're asking questions because I'm just saying, you know, we want to make sure that, I just wanted to have those questions. Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah.
Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we discussed this in the committee, and I just wanted to be clear again, we don't need their services right now. This is only to meet the standard and make sure that we have the proper staffing if needed.
That is correct. Today, we have 128 direct care staff, and I have 123 young people. So we are exceeding the state ratio requirement of 1 to 10.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
why is there a
I'm
need?
sorry, to that, were you done, Commissioner Baker McCormick? Yeah, to that point, Commissioner
Yes.
Kinlock?
Why is there a need for a change if this contract is only used as needed? Why is there a need? Why was there a need for a change?
So that contract was an emergency contract. And so
Okay.
as it ended, we followed the procurement ordinance and
And
issued an
implement.
RFP.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
Commissioner Marecki, or were you still had a couple more questions, Commissioner Baker McCormick? You're done. Oh, okay. Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker McCormick asked my question, but I thought it was important that you reiterate that we have stricter staffing levels than the state even asked for. So
Correct. So the
I-
state ratio is 1 to 10. We are currently able to staff at 2 to 10. It is our expectation that and goal to staff at 3 to 16.
right. Okay. Thank you.
Any additional discussion on the Health and Human Services report?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Kinlock.
Okay, can I have I'd like to know on the overtime, you know, costs associated with that we're having to incur, even though we have the staffing.
And I can certainly get that to you. What I can say is that overtime has decreased 30% since May.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Madam Clerk, I'd like to abstain on number 3.
Duly noted. Motion carries. Now Commissioner Bell is an abstention on item number 3.
Next item, please.
We are on Report H from the Committee on Ways and Means. There are 6 items listed on pages 11 and 12 of the agenda.
Kinlock.
Madam Chair, move approval of the entire report.
Been moved by Commissioner Kinlock, supported by Commissioner Hados. Any discussion on the second Ways and Means report? Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Commissioner. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
We are on page 13 of the agenda, upcoming meetings.
Okay, please note the upcoming meetings, especially the budget hearings with Ways and Means. If there are any changes to the meeting schedule, please let the clerk know. Next item.
We are on new business, immediate consideration. There are 4 items listed on the agenda and 1 on the addenda. Item number 1 is requesting commission approval of a 2-year, 4-month construction agreement with a 6-month option to renew between the Charter County of Wayne and Inland Waters Pollution Control.
Okay, who's here to speak on this issue?
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Cullen, Division Director, Environmental Services, Department of Public Services.
Explain this.
Item number 1 is a contract with Inland Waters Pollution Control. And I'll be the first to admit, I do not like coming to commission with items under immediate consideration. I don't ever plan on ever doing this again. And the reason that I'm here today is because there is so much funding on the line for it to get authorized today, hopefully. This item and the next item on the agenda are construction projects related to the Rouge Valley Sewage Disposal System. We are under a long-term corrective action plan with the state. And the board has previously authorized bond funding and the project plan that authorized these plans with the state of Michigan. The state gave us an extremely tight deadline on this funding cycle between our award of bid and their closing date for the loan, which is tomorrow, interestingly enough, although they might delay it a few days from what I've been told recently. And so part of the requirement for closing on the low interest state revolving fund money is to have these contract resolutions for the contracts in place by closing. Included in the $30 million of low interest state revolving funding that's funding these two projects, the state is also has $2 million of state ARPA dollars on the line. So they're dedicating a couple $1 million of their ARPA dollars to these projects. Which is straight grant money, just straight off the top. So if we didn't get this finished today, the SRF funding would be pulled as well as the ARPA funding. So that's why we're here today. We worked really hard to go through the regular process and get this to commission staff in time. We were unable to get the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and so that's why we're here today.
And that's for items number 1 and 2?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any questions? We'll take both of those. Are there any questions on the 2 items, 1 and 2? Any questions, discussion on those 2 immediate consideration items? And again, we'll take 1 and 2 together, Madam Clerk.
We noted.
Hearing no discussion, we'll vote on items 1 and 2 on the immediate consideration.
And through the chair,
Yes.
may I, if it's possible, if I could ask the clerk if we could get a copy of the resolution for these two items,
Yes,
either
Steve
today or
talked to me.
tomorrow? If that's
Steve did
possible.
talk to me already.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Please vote on items 1 and 2 under immediate consideration. Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is requested commission approval of amendment number 1 to an addendum to a cooperative agreement between the Charter County of Wayne and Brogan and Partners Advertising Consultancy.
Okay, who's to speak on this item?
Hello, Avni Sheth, Chief Medical Officer, HHVS, and Division Director of Clinical Care Services. This is a request to approve an amendment to a My Deal cooperative agreement with Wayne County and Brogan Partners. There will be an increased value of the current contract from $148,500 to $895,568, and we're extending the term also through September 30th, 2025. Under this current agreement, Brogan provides various communications and marketing support and services, mainly focused on our overdose and harm reduction initiatives with rollout of our naloxone vending machine initiative. With the amendment, they are going to be doing more broader work across some of our public health programs and some media campaigns that are focused on various different efforts, STI and syphilis media campaign and awareness, the measles vaccination campaign, a focus campaign on Mpox vaccination, marijuana safety, expanded work in our overdose and substance use and harm reduction space, and work with us to help us design an annual report for our department. We are requesting immediate consideration because some of these projects we do need to tie up by the end of this fiscal year, September 30th, because they are grant funded. And so we appreciate your consideration of this request.
With the advertising, do you know what media forms they'll be using? Would it be billboards, mailing, television? What will they be using?
Yeah, so depending on the project, they're going to be using multiple different strategies. And so some of these bigger projects where we have more funding, we are doing kind of a multi-marketing campaign where there'll be billboards and videos being created, social media content, posters. And some of these smaller funded areas, we are going to be leveraging social media primarily. So it depends on the project and also the audience and how to reach them.
And also with the vending machines, the Narcan vending machines, those are going to go out for advertising as well.
Yes.
Any questions on this item? Any discussion or questions on this item? Okay, thank you. Hearing no questions, please vote.
Motion carries.
Item?
We're on item number 4, and it's requesting commission approval of amendment number 3 to a one-year cooperative agreement between the Charter County of Wayne and Oracle America.
All right, who's speaking to this?
Hi, through the chair, this is Mike Jameson on the Zoom, Connect 43 Project Director.
Uh-oh. Anybody?
Can you guys hear me?
Are they on Zoom? Okay.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Michael,
Can everyone hear me?
Jameson, can you speak, sir? Can you hear us?
Hi, can you guys
Our
hear me?
Zoom is messed up. Can you hear me? No, we cannot, sir. We can hear you on Zoom. Thank you, Brianne. This is the same problem we had the other day. Is our Zoom broke? This is not good. Hold on one second, Mr. Jameson. And while we're trying to hear him, is there anyone in the chambers who can briefly speak to this at all? Or anyone else in the building? Chris, is there anyone in the building who can speak to this Oracle contract?
Yes, please.
If it doesn't come up, we'll see if we can get him on the phone, then put him up to the microphone. Say it again, Mike, Chris. Oh. Michael James, if you could please call Chris. Matt is on his cell phone. Chris, then we'll use your cell phone and we'll put up to the microphone. Like
Okay.
band-aiding a spacecraft together. When he calls you, Chris, Donna Wilson is on her way. But Michael, if you can call Chris Madds if you have his phone number, and we'll use your phone, if you don't mind. Let us know if Chris calls you. Or Chris, if Michael calls you. Oracle is very important. This is the third amendment to a one-year cooperative agreement for $263,000. I don't have his cell phone. Michael said he doesn't have Chris Madds' cell phone number. Someone has to have someone's cell phone, right? Or maybe if Michael can send it in a private chat to Wayne. One moment, please, everyone.
Donna.
Oh, there's Donna. Hi, Donna. Come on up. We have Donna and Mike. Okay, Donna, what we're talking about is the Oracle amendment. We can't get Michael on the phone. We're trying to get Michael on the phone.
Hey.
Michael?
Donna Wilson, PHR Director.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Oh.
Perfect.
Donna has the magic touch. So when she comes down, Michael, okay.
Sorry about the technological difficulties. So yeah, this is the continuation of the IaaS, which is Infrastructure as a Service, and PaaS, PaaS, which is Platform as a Service credits to be used by Wayne County IT for a multitude of items, but items such as synchronizing the single sign-on so that folks can use the same single sign-on to access Oracle that they would to access their email or other systems at the county. The reason for the immediate consideration, I appreciate Commission for expediting, is the timing of when the MyDeal contract was consummated. So we submitted on 8/20, the day after it was consummated. And so just the timing crunch with the contracts that are to be renewed after the MyDeal agreement, we couldn't submit it before because it was starting after the MyDeal agreement was expiring. So it was just the timing of when the new MyDeal contract was struck and when this contract expired.
Do you anticipate another amendment to this contract?
Yeah. So in talking with IT, so what we were discussing potentially creating a new contract that was a little broader to include the IaaS and PaaS credits, but we couldn't get that quite fully ready before the renewal time. So we do need these services. These will be services that we use in perpetuity. Oracle right now is kind of restricting us to a 12-month agreement, which is why you're not seeing a longer term deal, but these are under the MyDeal contract, and it's just, again, the timing of the renewal to when we can submit.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Jameson on this item? Any questions on this item? Okay, thank you, Mr. Jameson. There's a motion by Commissioner Kinlock, supported by Commissioner Hayes. Hearing no discussion, please vote.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Then we have one additional immediate consideration on another addenda.
On the addenda, item number 5 is requesting commission approval of a one-day rental agreement between the Charter County of Wayne and the City of Dearborn to host a Senior Services Department Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon.
Good morning, sir. If you can introduce yourself and speak to this item.
Morning, William Chuck Jackson, Department Director, Wayne County Senior Services.
Okay, what is this before us?
This event is for the volunteers who deliver meals for Meals on Wheels program. It's an annual event that has taken place for many years prior to COVID, and then it has resumed again since COVID. For most, our department is unique in the sense that we rely exclusively on volunteers to deliver the more than 2,500, 2,800 meals a day that we deliver. This event is that one time a year where we say, thank you, we appreciate you for your service.
Any questions on this item? Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Madam Chair, do we have a date set yet?
Yes, September 17th.
It's the same date as the, agreement. Okay, I just didn't know if that was the date or not. And what time?
2 to 4 p.m.
Eric Clark Coleman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. About how many people do you normally shows up for this event? How many volunteers?
Typically between 500 and 600 people.
Huge group.
Those are all the people who deliver the foods, pack the foods over the course of the year.
Yes.
Becky?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And through the chair, I read our counselor's extensive evaluation of this, and I'm just wondering, I'm a little uncomfortable with this, but I'm wondering if Felicia had any more comments to what she's already given us.
Through the chair to this honorable body, So as indicated in the analysis, I did have discussions with Corporation Counsel. There are some items that probably should be clarified based on my conversations with Corp Counsel. We were comfortable moving forward. It's something that's occurred over the years. My understanding, they will provide us a written legal opinion to clarify the remainder of the items, and we'll have further discussions if necessary before next year's event. But this is something that they've done historically. This is the first time it's come here, so we just had a lot of questions with a short time frame. We didn't have an opportunity to fully vet them all, but I'm comfortable enough to move forward this year. And again, if there are remaining issues, we'll address those before next year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dobb, you're all set? All right, any additional questions on this item? Thank you. Hearing none, everyone, please vote.
Motion carries.
And this, I'm going off script for a moment only because Ms. Wilson is here. And I don't know if you're the appropriate person. You can tell me if not. When we rolled out the new system, Oracle system, over the last few weeks, there were some persons who had issues with their paychecks. I want to know if those issues had been resolved for this week's pay. And again, I don't know if that's directed to you or if we want to ask Mr. Jameson to respond.
Donna Wilson, PHR Director, and I can talk about the process for employees if they have issues with their paychecks or payrolls. And so we have a online system where they can submit tickets for their issues with their payments, and that is logged. And then we triage it from there. So we look at it on an individual basis. And then if it's not an individual, if it's something in a coding or something in the system, then it's escalated through a JIRA ticket. So employees should be receiving consistent feedback with any questions. What the key for us is to, one, make sure that we have the responsiveness and that employees are getting the feedback. But Mike may have more details, but that is how the process flows.
You know, there were some persons who had a check for 43 cents, and there were people in tears over at the sheriff's department with deputies because they didn't get anything. And then I assured them that if there was an issue, they would get a paper check within 24 hours.
Exactly, and that is one of the processes, is that if employee is missing income, we can redo a manual check runs. And so we have been doing that and working very cooperatively with the sheriff and the treasurer and our own payroll, M&B payroll system.
And this is payday again.
Friday.
Do you anticipate, have all of the issues been fixed for this payroll that you're aware of?
Well, every issue is different, and it could be a tax issue, it could be a system issue, but what it is that we are continuing to see less and less issues. Sometimes when we first rolled out, it could be user error, it could be a system error, but we see a consistent decrease in the number of manual checks that we need to run.
I understand individual errors. I mean, that just happens. I guess my bigger concern is system errors. Are all the systems errors been identified and eliminated, so that won't cause us a problem?
Yeah, no, we still have the team in place, and they are still having daily calls on anything. So anything new that we need to fix, they run it in a test environment before they make it live, so to ensure that it won't make the matters worse. So it's still going and moving forward.
And through the chair, can you hear me, Mike Jameson, on Zoom?
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so to answer your specific questions, and without going too technical, we have at least 3 identified items that are still outstanding, as of now, to relate to ensuring that, shift premiums when an officer works a different location or a civilian works a different location, that they're maintained. One is an actual Oracle bug related to a pay rate adjustment that affected approximately 60 employees in the last payroll, that we have a manual workaround that we're doing to correct when payrolls run, but that still is a bug that needs to be fixed. So those are the primary 2, but we track them daily. And what we also have done is gone to posting office hours with the timekeeper, as Donna mentioned. Some items are related to time entry and trading. So we're working with and this isn't just for sheriff's office, this is across the board, the timekeepers and HR liaisons to kind of catch entry issues before they're entered. And so you can correct them before we're kind of in the crunch of the payroll. And this will be just a continual process. Again, the system issues are to be eliminated, and the training issues are to be corrected just through repetition and continual training. So not done as of yet, but as Donna said, the trend is in the right direction, and we're hoping to have the system issues addressed as soon as tomorrow or early next week, depending on what comes back from the testing validation. But as Donna mentioned, the process is to identify the issue, test in a non-production environment, validate from Oracle side, validate from the Wayne County SME side, and then move into production. And so that is the process for all areas.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that we assure our employees that that very important issue of a paycheck will be resolved so that they are not having panic attacks and worrying about making sure that their bills are being paid, because it was certainly traumatic when you get your check and a dime. So you want to make sure that that issue is resolved and that the systems are in place to prevent that from continuing to happen. So we'll stay on top of that. So thank you, Mr. Jameson. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Appreciate you. All right. Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I too, I've gotten a number of calls because as Chair of Public Services, Public Safety, that I've gotten a number of calls from the Sheriff's Department regarding paychecks being incorrect. And I assured them that if that was called to the attention of the HR, that they would make sure that they got a paper check. So I just wanted to make sure that I was speaking correctly.
You are speaking correctly, and particularly with the sheriff's office, we actually have a dedicated team working with the sheriff's office and their HR office to do the payroll processing. And so, as Mike had indicated, some was training, some were system issues and how we code things. So they are getting manual checks and have people, as we say, boots on the ground that they can go to and say, this is a problem with my check, and we're able to log a ticket.
And I can truly understand, because some people do live from paycheck to paycheck. And it is traumatic if their paychecks are not there on the day that they expect them to be there. I just wanted to make sure that that was being handled very quickly so that they could get those checks and get a paper check. Because I even suggested that they might want to send a letter in writing that their checks had not been processed. And they also it sounded to me, because the calls that I received were from the Sheriff's Department, this wasn't just an issue with the Sheriff's Department, was it?
Well, and again, it depends on the nature of the issue. With any new program, there is some startup or stabilization. So the sheriff had probably more of a concentrated issues because of shift work, because of the volume. And then they moved from a timekeeper to an employee entry. So they had a little bit more transition than some of the other areas. Not that any other area is not important, because everybody's check is important, but we just had a concentrated issues with some of their timekeeping and coding. So we had to commit some specific resources for them. And then also, you indicated as follow-up, we have weekly meetings with POAM where we go through a running tally of members who have had issues with payroll and how we're resolving them.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Want to make sure that that is rectified, because we want to make sure that everyone gets their pay in a timely manner. I'm sorry. Oh, sure. Commissioner Monique Megan McCormick.
I don't know, my button isn't working.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Donna. Just a clarification for the online process. What does that look like when there's an issue, or do we just call? I mean.
Right, you can initially, most people start with their timekeeper if there's an issue with their payroll. And so we have timekeepers, we have change champions, or we have change ambassadors that actually probably are the initial touch points. And then it is through Department of Information Technology, there is a 1-800 number or an online submission that I have a question with my payroll, and that starts the process.
Okay, you said there's a 800 number you
Yes,
can
and-
call, and
yeah.
I know you wouldn't have that handy.
No, I don't.
But
It's
if
the
we,
regular information technology number if you have an issue.
okay. And then somewhere online on the county website is a link or for
Same
any
email.
issue.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
For real this time. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All right, very good. Next item, Madam Clerk.
We're on page 15 of the agenda, testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation. There are 17 items listed.
Okay, is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Clark Coleman, supported by Vice Chair Baidoon. Any discussion on the resolutions and certificates of appreciation? Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Item? Sorry, you didn't say it.
Commissioner Khalid.
Commissioner Kleen? Certificates of appreciation.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. All right, next item.
We're on memoriams. There's one name listed.
Hey, Alvera Victoria Orr, mother of girlfriends of mine. Her services were last weekend. Her and her family, Dr. Orr, were our people who are very well respected in our community, and we want to make sure that we just keep their family in our prayers. Additionally, like to keep members of the Georgia community in our prayers. The unfortunate shooting at the school on yesterday, as well as the teenagers that were shot. Unfortunately, one of them killed at the state fair over the past weekend. Again, the common denominator, all of these are shootings and gun violence, and young people, very young people, 14-year-olds. So we really have to do a better job going back to suicide prevention. But what's going on with our young people and their mental capacity, as well as the prevalence of guns in our society that are causing all of these school shootings and shootings at random, and people not being able to handle their disputes without pulling out a gun. So we want to make sure that we just keep the families of all those affected by gun violence in our prayers. Are there any names to be added to the memoriams? Okay, hearing none, if everyone could please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. Next item.
We're on public comments.
Anyone in the chambers wish to give public comments? We have 2 minutes. Anyone in the chambers for public comments? Anyone online for public comments? You see any hands? No hands. Any emails? No emails. Once again, public comments in the chambers. Anyone for public comments? Okay. Thank you. Next item.
Reconsiderations.
There are none.
Remarks by members.
Let me just, a couple of things. One, want to welcome Commissioner Dodd back. Thankful that she's on the mend from her car accident. So we thank God it wasn't anything worse, and thank God that you're on your mend for your ribs and your finger, and the trauma of a car accident I can know can be very bad for you as well. So glad to see you here with us today. Also, if your schedule permits, this on tomorrow, if I can pull it up, on tomorrow on the 7th floor, there is a Nigerian delegation coming for an Africa Business Summit. I'm going to host them on the 7th floor tomorrow from 12 to 2. If your schedule permits, please come and welcome this the Honorable Senator Sampson, who is the Senate Committee Chair on Solid Minerals in the National Assembly of Nigeria. And we have Mr. Kevin Samples, the Director of Transportation, and a few other ombudsmen, and another senator from Nigeria who will be coming to explore trade in the United States and in particular Wayne County. So if you're available from 12 to 2 tomorrow, love for you to stop by and partake in that conversation discussion with our guest from Nigeria. Any remarks by members? Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to remind commissioners about the Youth Council appointees. We are still accepting applications. I know we probably have about 8 new applications in, and I'm not sure who, where, and all of that, but I will make sure that I send over that information to commissioners once we figure it out. And I thought the Commission Youth Council legislative aide was here, but she's not here yet. I wanted to introduce those of you who have not met the new legislative aide. Her name is Shantae Mosby, and at some point you'll meet her. The goal, again, is to have 2 appointees per commissioner. We want to maximize the number of youth that are afforded the opportunity to participate. Again, the meeting for the Youth Council, the first meeting is October 3rd. It is going to be an in-person meeting as suggested by at our last committee meeting that we have, that we open up with that so that youth will have the opportunity to get to know each other initially, as well as if they want to run for any offices, they'll have that opportunity to do so at that time. I also wanted to have our committee meetings around the same time so that the committee could get to know the youth as well. So we'll talk more about that before October 3rd, but that's the update I wanted to give. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. And I hope to have my 2 names to you before the meeting, hopefully by the end of this month. So everyone, please try to get your young people in your districts involved, because it is a very worthwhile endeavor to be able to go to Lansing and to interact with them and just to get them civically engaged. Very important that we start that at a young age. Want to also say that for the Criminal Justice Complex Committee, Special Committee, that is going to remain active. Even though the complex is open, I think there's still some oversight and some updates that they're going to need to give us over this first year of opening. So Commissioner Anderson will continue to lead that charge and making sure that that oversight is taking place. And one more thing that I have is that United States Secretary of Education, Secretary Cardona, is in Detroit today. He'll be at Cass Technical High School, and I've been asked to join them. Again, as we talk about mental health, he's going to talk to some students at Cass about mental health, and there will be some students interviewing him and discussing that very important issue with him. So I look forward to going over there this afternoon to fellowship with the children and the staff at Cass and Secretary Cardona on mental health and our young people. Commissioner Kinlock.
We have a budget hearing that begins at 12:30 with the county clerk at 12:30, prosecuting attorney at 1:15. But lunch is at noon on the 7th floor. All are welcome. Thank you.
Yes, we better get out of here then. Any additional comments, discussion, remarks by members? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?